Greetings friends, it's Denise again with Denise's Dancing Paintbrush, and today something different. Today I am knitting a baby blanket. This is for a friend who gave me this yarn. It is merino wool and cotton blend, and it is 30% the merino wool and 70% cotton, really soft. Each one of these is a pull skein, so you need to find the end of the yarn, which is right in the middle. There we are. That makes it much easier to start at the center and pull outward. Then the ball of yarn doesn't bounce around. And I'm going to show the cast-on method called the knit cast-on method, where you're literally knitting a stitch. I start with a slip knot. And my needles, I like to work with circular needles. They're less cumbersome, they don't get in the way, and you don't lose the other needle. There it is. So I've got one stitch, and I grab some yarn like I'm knitting that stitch, but instead of pulling the old one off, I slide the new one on. There, now I've got two stitches. Take another stitch. Instead of pulling the old one off, I slide the new one on. Another stitch and slide it on. I find this method works much better than the long tail method. Oh, that's such a mess because you never know how long to make the tail for, and this one's very smooth when you're done. So I've put on a few stitches. I'm going to cast on 100 stitches for this baby blanket. And I like to use the continental fingering, where I'm holding the yarn in my left hand instead of my right hand. It's much more smooth. You don't have to stop, wind the yarn around, and finish the stitch. So here's the pattern. This is a pattern I kind of made up, and I'm calling it the butterfly pattern. On the purl side, you knit or purl 5 stitches. And then you slip 5 stitches off without knitting them. So the string is hanging behind, and pull it forward, and then purl 5 more stitches. This stitch that just gets left in the background becomes part of the butterfly. I have to do that 5 times. This looks really cute with this variegated yarn. Slipping 5 stitches with the yarn behind, you see, pull it forward, purl 5 stitches. Now here I've done quite a bit. I came back a couple hours later, and I am going to now weave the 5 rows that I've left strings hanging together. So on the knit side, I'll knit across to right in the middle of the 5 stitches that were slipped, so it will be stitch number 3. Stitch 1, stitch 2, stitch number 1, 2, 3. That one's the one. You slide the needle under all of those hanging threads, knit the stitch and pull it back around, and then knit the stitch again, so I've double knitted it, and then slide one off. And it makes a little a little knot, tying those threads all together like a bow tie, or I like to look at it like a butterfly. Here I'm attaching a new skein. People always wonder, how do you do that? Do you tie a knot? This is the best method. You don't have any knots, you just have a couple of strings hanging that you weave in underneath. So here's my new yarn, my new skein. I'll just hold that extra end underneath and knit both from the old skein and the new one together for at least 5 stitches. That makes sure that it's good and locked in. And there it is. No knot. There's the string, the beginning, and there's the end of the old skein there. In this case, I've got a cream colored yarn that I am going to pick up stitches all around the border and knit a border around this blanket. So I've got to pick up around the edge and knit all the way around. It looks really cute when it's done. This part's a little bit slow. Picking up the stitches is slow, but once you have them all on there, knitting them is perfectly fast. Okay, so I picked up that stitch there, now I knit it. I'm just going to knit all the way around to all 4 sides. And there I've picked up all the stitches. You can see I'm nearly done with the border, and now I'm casting off or binding off. So you knit a stitch, so you have there's 2 stitches on my right hand needle, and I pull one over the other all the way around. So there's never more than 2 stitches on this right hand needle until you get to the very end. And there's the finished border and the finished baby blanket with the little butterfly pattern. The variegated yarn made it look so cute. And it turned out quite charming, I think. Thanks for coming with me on this little knitting adventure. Thanks for watching. Do come again. Check out my Patreon page. Bye everyone. See you next time.